Hey guys, it's Cooper here, and I just wanted to mention something really quick before I start the video. If you're ever wondering why I have multiple videos in a row where I have the same background, where I'm wearing the same shirt, or the same hat, I just want to say that I record multiple videos at once, and then I spend multiple days editing them and getting them uploaded so that I can have one video per day going live. So that's the reason why sometimes you'll see me wear the same shirt 4 videos in a row. It's just because I film them all at the same time and then release them one day at a time. I just figured I'd get that out of the way. So today, I wanted to talk about how I got into collecting. And I've kind of talked about this before in some older videos, but I think this is going to be a story that a lot of people watching the video haven't heard, so I figured I'd make this video now and tell you guys once again. If you have heard, feel free to turn off the video. But yeah, let's just get into it. So I started getting into actually buying and selling games before I got into collecting. And the way that it worked out is I was cleaning my room one day, and under my bed I found a Sega Genesis Model 2 system and an NES system. I don't believe I had any controllers or cables or games or anything. And I just found them under the bed. They were super dirty and they had been there forever, and I just pulled them out and I was like, maybe someone would want these. So I pulled up Craigslist and I typed in I went to the wanted section and I typed in video games, and the first one that popped up was for a local business called Game Junkies, and I don't think they're around anymore. And when I first started contacting them, they didn't have a store, but eventually they did get a physical location. But they had a wanted ad posted for video games, and I just contacted them, and they came to my house and picked them up. And I didn't really, I didn't get too much for them. They were just system only, but I thought, that's kind of cool. I like video games, and at the time of finding those, I was more into playing like PS2 and Wii and Xbox 360 and stuff like that, but so I was still into video games, but I wasn't at all into collecting, and I wasn't really into retro gaming at that time either, and so I found those, and then I thought, because I didn't have a job at the time, I was still in high school. I think I was a junior or maybe a sophomore at the time, and I thought, this is a good way for me to make some money since I don't have a job. I can try to find these games and I can sell them to this game store. And so that's what I did for a while. I was going to Goodwill and Value Village and Salvation Army, and I was finding video games, and at the time you could still find pretty good stuff at the thrift stores. I was finding copies of Mario Kart 64, and I was finding Super Mario All-Stars and stuff like that. So I was finding some pretty good games, and I was just turning around and selling them to that game store. And obviously, if I were to be selling them on my own, I could make a little bit more. And I eventually started doing that. This is even before I got into eBay or Amazon. And so I was just selling them on Craigslist, and then when I started to sell them on Craigslist, I also started to buy them on Craigslist, and I had started posted wanting ads. I worded that very weird. I started to post wanted ads, and so I started to buy and sell them myself. I got in contact with another local reseller. His name is Andrew. He was in one of my videos a while ago when I got my Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut box. I actually got that from him. We're still friends, and he was paying a lot more than Game Junkies was, so instead of selling to Game Junkies, I started to sell to him, and basically I was trying to sell stuff on my own on Craigslist, and then every few weeks, whatever I had left over, I would just call him and he'd come through and buy most of it. And so that's how I made any money that I had in high school. And so I was going to Goodwill and I was buying video games and I was selling them, and I thought, and actually at this point I started to keep some stuff for myself. I got myself an N64, and I had maybe like 10 games or so that I was holding on to that I wasn't selling. And I guess you could say that that's when I started collecting, but I didn't really consider it collecting at that time. And so what I did is I started going on YouTube. And sorry, I was staring at my camera because it was doing something weird. I thought maybe the battery was dying. But I went on YouTube and I typed in something along the lines of like Goodwill video game pickups or something like that. And I had never watched a pickup video. I had never watched any retro gaming YouTube videos before, but I figured, I can't be the only person doing this, so I typed it in, and I found a channel by the name of Green January, and he was doing videos showing the stuff that he found at Goodwill, and it was mostly video game stuff. He found like some DVDs and some Disney-related items and other things like that as well, but he was making videos of it, and I started watching them, and I marathoned through his 100 videos in like 2 days, and I could not get enough of it, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And he had stuff like on display behind him, and I just thought collecting is really cool. Making videos about it is even cooler, and I think it's something that I want to do. So from there, I had to borrow a camcorder from my neighbor, which was super awkward. Luckily, my we knew them very well. So they let me borrow the camera. I started making videos, and those videos are still on my channel. My video game pickups #1, or video game finds #1. Those videos are so old and they're so terrible. I don't think that I was in high school when I made them, though. I'm pretty sure I started making videos after I graduated. I don't remember exactly when the first video was uploaded. I think it was in 2010, and I graduated from high school in 2009. So yeah, it's been six years or so now, 6 or 7 years since I started collecting, because I wasn't making videos when I first started. But yeah, so I started making videos, and I started finding other people's YouTube channels. I started watching other people's videos, and I saw people's room tours, and I was just so inspired, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, and I still think it is. I will still go back and watch people's room tours. I watch Pete Doors a lot. I watch CJR's room tour. His room is awesome. I love the space he has. It's just amazing. I love watching people's room tour videos. It's probably my #1 favorite retro gaming style video is room tours, because I really enjoy the way people set their things up. I enjoy how people have promotional items and everything on display. I think it looks really awesome. And so I started watching videos like that, and I started making my own, and I started really getting into it. And then it got to a point where, and I guess I should say before I say that, I was collecting everything. I was collecting anything and everything for every system, and it didn't matter if it was cartridge only or even disc only. I was still adding it to my collection if I didn't have it. And then it got to a point where borrowing my neighbor's camera every few days or every week was becoming not only a hassle, but it was also not really fair to them, and it was kind of rude, I guess, asking to borrow it all the time. So I wanted to get my own way to record videos, and the easiest way that I saw to do that was to get a MacBook, because not only did they have a built-in webcam and microphone, but they also came with free editing software, which was iMovie, and I actually still use that on my newer MacBook. So in order to do that, I sold most of my collection and saved up a little bit more until I had enough to buy a used MacBook off of Craigslist, and that's exactly what I did. And then from there, I was able to start making videos and editing on the MacBook. And when I sold that collection in order to buy the MacBook, I kept anything I had that was complete in the box, Nintendo-wise. And I think it wasn't that many, but I think I had like Mario 64, Donkey Kong Country 2, Tetris 2, and maybe like a couple other ones here and there. And after I got the MacBook, which took me a little while, I had to kind of like take a break from YouTube. But in that time, I had decided when I start collecting again to only collect complete in box stuff. And from that point until my not this collection I have here, but the previous one, that's when I started that collection. So the collection that I had that I sold when I was living in Florida, 2015, September of 2015 is when I sold that. So between whenever I came back and had my MacBook to make my videos and September 2015, that's the time frame where I built that entire collection. And at one point I was collecting Xbox, PS1, PS3, Xbox 360, and I had decent collections going for those as well, and then I sold them off because I was running out of room, and I ended up only collecting Nintendo stuff and PS2. And the only reason I didn't even sell my PS2 collection is because I had so many, and I figured, you know, I'm a quarter of the way done with the PS2 collection, I might as well keep it. And I decided to sell my PS1 stuff instead of PS2, which I kind of regretted after that, but I didn't have space. So everything like that got sold, obviously, and then I was just collecting Nintendo and PS2 for a very long time, and then obviously I sold my entire collection in 2015 in order to take a job across the country, and after that I moved back up here. I started collecting everything you've seen in my videos recently and everything I've been picking up. This current collection was started in June or July of 2015. So it must have been 2014 is when I sold my other collection, not 2015. Sorry about that. So between September of 2014 and about June or July of 2015, I wasn't collecting at all. And so everything I have now has been acquired since June or July of 2015. So it's been July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. It's been about 9 months. Maybe I might have gotten a few things before that. So 9, 10, 11 months, somewhere around there, is how long I've been working on my current collection. And right now, I'm living in the area that I plan to be living in for the rest of my life. So selling my collection to move is not going to be an issue. I don't see anything happening anytime soon that's going to make me sell. I don't have any plans to sell my collection, and I know that some people out there might not really believe that, since I've sold my collection twice previously. But the very first collection I sold, I wasn't really collecting the stuff I wanted to collect. Like I said, I was even going for disc-only stuff, and I was collecting Sega and Atari and all that. And my main focus then was Nintendo, so I didn't really have that much, honestly. So selling that wasn't really a big deal. Selling my last collection really hurt, but I really didn't have a choice. So it's not like I've ever really wanted to sell my collection, and I definitely don't want to sell this one. I don't have any plans to ever do so. This is something that I would like to hold on to forever and share with my future children. And my girlfriend and I enjoy playing games and collecting now together, which is very awesome. So yeah, I don't really have any plans to sell it in the future, so hopefully this is a sort of forever collection, and I can just continuously add to this collection and build it for the rest of my life. And I'm going to try and continue to make videos for as long as I can, or at least as long as I feel like I need to or want to. And hopefully you guys will stick around and, you know, watch the collection grow and talk about video games and play video games and stuff. And hopefully you guys will still enjoy my content when I'm a 70-year-old man picking up Nintendo 64 games. So yeah, that's pretty much my story of how I got into collecting, and I guess kind of how I got into YouTube as well, and a little bit of my collecting history. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.